Good afternoon. We're here for a Public Works meeting. It's Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. We're going to start this meeting off with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Sechrist. Here. Lehman.
Here.
Ham. Roseland. Here. A quorum is present.
Thank you. Next up is the adoption of the agenda. Motion by Roberts, second by Roseland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have general public comment. Seeing no speaker request forms, we're going to open and close general public comment today. And move on to consent items 1 through 10. We're going to go through the department directors this afternoon. If Mr. Tech, if you'd like to start.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll speak to items 2 through 6. It looks like item number 2 and 3 are final change orders. The first one is for the construction in this building, the City Hall, known as Phase 2 renovations, for a slight increase. And then item number 3 is a final change order for a miscellaneous improvement project for a slight decrease. Item number 4 is a advertisement for bids for asphalt and concrete crushing services out at the solid waste facility. We receive through private contractors as well as city contracts. Concrete and asphalt is hauled out there. We crush that material, we resell it, and then we also use it on site. Interesting fact is asphalt and concrete pavements are the most recycled material in the world by tonnage. And certainly we take advantage of that, so we don't have to purchase new products to put on our landfill roads. We certainly utilize what has been used before. So anyway, this is a long-term contract to be able to process that material for our beneficial use as well as sale to the public. Item number 5 is a purchase of 2 vehicles. This was on the agenda before. We brought this back. There's 2 vehicles that will be replaced. One is a 2012 model year vehicle with 115,000 miles, and the other is a 2007 model year vehicle with 80,000 miles approximately. Those vehicles will be offered up to other city divisions and departments to see if there are any takers. If there are none, they will be surplused. And then item number 6 is a semi-annual air quality report that is required to be submitted to the state of South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources for air quality reporting at our solid waste facility. I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tech. We'll go by director today. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Ms. Sechrist?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director Tech, for the update. I guess I had a couple of questions on one being on item 3. I could not locate the project name for that, for the decrease there, and I know the CIP number is listed and the project number is listed, so I was curious what that project was for. And then I noticed just an observation on item 2 that there were, I would say hundreds, probably not that many, but there were multiple sheets of pages provided in the attachment, and it would just be really helpful to have a quick, concise summary sheet that might tell us what has actually happened or is happening with that project. Thank you.
Very good. If I could respond, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely, Mr. Tech, please.
Your first question. On item number 3, it's called a miscellaneous improvement project, so that means it's work done all over town. It's not one specific street project. It's various curb and gutter repairs, various drain pan repairs, various sidewalk repairs that we do all over town, so it's not one specific area. So that's why you don't see a location, because it's basically the entire city. And we'll do our best to throw together a summary to have attached to the agenda prior to council Monday night for item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Tech. Ms. Fisher, item 7, I think, is your only item today. And 12 when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 7 is the Transportation Improvement Program. This is a draft report. We know this as the TIP. It comes each year from the Rapid City Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. This is a list that prioritizes projects for a 4-year period from 25 to 28. It's a fiscal tool that's used so that we can look at where our needs are and where we have resources to meet those needs. If you have any questions about any of the particular items on this, Kip Harrington, our transportation coordinator and long-range planning division manager, is in the audience, and he can certainly provide more detail on some of the projects. And there are some great projects coming forward.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Seacrest, you're going to the button there.
Thank you, Chair. I was hoping to invite Kip up to do an overview of some of the highlights of the projects here. If you could maybe just emphasize or highlight a little our working relationship with the railroad, just for my information. I noticed that the 5-year plan included some funding in year 1 and then no additional funds in the remaining years, and was just curious what that was about. So thank you.
Thanks. Kip Harrington, Long Range Planning Manager. So the tip basically details all the projects between the South Dakota Department of Transportation, the different communities within the MPO, and the counties as well. So some of the big projects you'll see on the DOT one are the intersection reconstruction at Katrin Boulevard and Highway 16, scheduled to start in 2026. That's about a $60 million project, I believe. And then coming up after that is Exit 63, which is the first exit into Box Elder coming from Rapid City. That'll be a full reconstruction of a diverging diamond interchange, similar to the one on La Crosse Street. And that's going to cost about $100 million. And there's some other projects along Highway 16 that I've noted in there as well. From a city perspective, one of the biggest ones we have is one that's going on right now is that construction on Sheridan Lake Road, widening between Katrin and Corral, which will take through 2025. And another big one upcoming a little later is the reconstruction of the intersection at West Main and Jackson Boulevard. Director Tech might have some information on that, a little bit more detail than I have. I just kind of have the totals. As far as the railroad goes, those projects are coordinated between the railroad and the Public Works Department to fix any railroad crossings in the community that need any attention. So again, they don't always give us a ton of notice on that. We usually only get about 1 year at a time, and Mr. Tech can correct me if I'm mistaken there, but I don't think we usually schedule those out more than a year or two in advance, because railroad crossings change very quickly based on the trains and the weights, and so they just kind of schedule those for a year, and then we find out and put those in the program. One thing I wanted to add is that usually every July there's a meeting called the STIP meeting, which is the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, which is held by the South Dakota Department of Transportation. In the past, they've usually rented a banquet room somewhere and done a big presentation. Over the years, the public participation, the in-person participation has decreased, and their online participation has greatly increased. So this year, they are doing away with the in-person meetings and scheduling all virtual. And the first one of those is scheduled for next Tuesday, the 16th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And there will be another presentation given on Thursday, the 18th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And we can get some links out if anybody wants those to the Zoom or Microsoft Teams. I'm not sure which one it's on, but the virtual presentation, you'll be able to participate virtually. And they'll go through all of their big projects throughout the region during that meeting. Take public comment on those as well.
Thank you, Kip. Item number 9, Mr. Beegler.
Mr. Chair, well, thank you. This is, we're seeking authorization to advertise for the design and construction of a bike skills park in Rapid City. This was a Vision Fund project that was awarded during this last round of Vision Fund. The Black Hills Mountain Bike Association put in an application for this project. We've been working with them. They have since kind of reformed and renewed and renamed themselves. They are now the Black Hills Bike Hub. So that is the organization that formerly was known as the Black Hills Mountain Bike Association. So this will be a project. We've got $600,000 was awarded for this project. So we are asking for authority for construction of the Bike Skills Park at $525,000. And the remaining $75,000 going towards sidewalk and fence construction at the site. The site for this is directly across from Founders Park on the south side of Omaha Street between Cross Street and Oshkosh. That's the area that was the construction staging area when all of the work was going on Omaha Street.
Thank you, Mr. Beegler. Items 9 and 10 are reappointments, so that ends consent. I would entertain a motion for those items. Motion by Roberts. Second by Roseland. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 12, Logan Simpson presentation, comprehensive plan progress report and update. Hi, Sarah.
Good
Floor is yours.
afternoon. Thank you very much. We're excited today to present an update on the update to the city's comprehensive plan. As you probably know, this is a process that we launched publicly back in the spring, though we've been laying groundwork for much longer than that. We've been getting out into the community, letting people know that we're in the process of updating this plan, thinking about the future and getting input. And we're excited today to have two members of our consultant team here to give you an update and status report on how that's all coming together. So Kelly Nauman is with Logan Simpson, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Yep, I'm Kelly Nauman with Logan Simpson. I have with me Megan Moore. We do have a presentation that we'll be sharing. There we go. Okay, so we wanted to give you an update on the project schedule, what the entire timeline is going to look like, and a little bit of update on public engagement. So we have an online component. We're going to go over a little bit of the key themes of what we're hearing, an activity that we had with the Club for Boys yesterday, and then look at next steps. So the project schedule, we're in that vision and values stage. So we're doing a big public engagement push to really see what values rise to the top, to see what those key themes are from the community, and start to draft a vision statement that will guide the rest of the plan moving forward. So that overall timeline, we're looking at the summer of 2025 to have the plan adopted. So we're really in those early stages still. We have completed some listening sessions with 43 individuals. We've looked at some online mapping activities, some questionnaires, and then are looking for that in-person engagement this week through several activities and drop-in events. So in progress, phases 1 and 2, we have a dedicated project website that is rapidcitycomprehensiveplan.com. There you'll find the questionnaire number 1. This is really that 10,000-foot view of what do you love most about Rapid City, what needs to change, and what would you describe Rapid City to look like in the future. We ask these same questions to some of those one-on-one interviews and are diving in deeper as we get more responses. We also have an arts showcase, so really asking people, what do you envision, and looking at creative feedback ways to showcase those key themes. And then we're also looking to do another study advisory team meeting in either late July or early August as kind of that deeper dive into what are we hearing from the public, to vet some of those public comments and to see if anything's missing from public comment. So some of the online engagement numbers, we're looking at 146 questionnaire responses as of the 3rd of July, but we're getting a lot of online traffic, so about 9,600 total website views, so that's very high. So people are hearing about the project, they're going back to the website. They are leaving map responses. So we have an interactive map tool where people are able to leave a comment in a specific location and say, this is an improvement that I would like to see, or this is an area that I love that I would like protected. So we have about 44 map responses now. These activities will be opened through the end of July, but that ideas map stays open through the whole process to really set the stage for the future land use map later. Some of the drop-in events, we have some really fun activities that we are looking to engage the community with over the next 3 days at the concert series, at Food Truck Night, and the Memorial Band concert. So some fun things like getting people to do buttons and to write Rapid City in their own style for an art exhibit later in the summer. We're also asking people to dive a little bit deeper. So how can Rapid City improve in the future? Looking at housing, giving specific comments so that we're really looking at how this can set the stage for goals and policies later. But this is really the first kind of phase. We might get, we're getting very general comments about these things now, but as we start to see those general comments, we can start to dive a little bit deeper into what that means later. So what have we heard so far? Some of the, we ask those kind of higher level questions like what elements or features define Rapid City to really see what people love and to kind of enhance those elements in the future. So Black Hills, lots about bike paths, trails and parks, Main Street Square, elements like Storybook Island. Parks and trails rose to the top significantly. And then people and community is really that second with local businesses, history and historic resources resources and events and festivals coming a little bit lower. So diving in a little bit deeper, these are just kind of some preliminary comments that we're getting. As we get some comments, we will categorize those into some key themes. And really these need to be vetted by a lot of different people over the course of the process and really see if these are applicable to the comprehensive plan. But for example, some parks and trails, some opportunities for change, some people talk about a skate park, some beautification, street trees and cooling. So we're getting some ideas from public comment and these will be vetted throughout the process. Second, on what do you love most about Rapid City? People and community. So as we hear why people and community is so important, we start to see some key themes like community connection, arts investment, and resources in community infrastructure rising to the top as opportunities for change. Third is local businesses, so looking at what types of jobs people are looking to see, maybe more manufacturing jobs, things like that. Connections, what types of businesses that people want to see. And some of these are more specific than a comprehensive plan can address, but these will be shared with the city and can be helpful later as well. When we look into what elements have the biggest opportunities for change, improved infrastructure was number one. So we heard about infill density, improvement of infrastructure, looking at the way that the city and the county do financing, looking at road and trail connections, starting to see which areas people would like to see connections made, and what quality of life indicators would really help. Second is housing and neighborhood character. So increased housing types, looking at what those housing types might be, looking at housing development and what people would like to see alongside that. So parks and green space, and then affordability is always a key theme that we see across the West. Education, so that was our third area for improvement or change. School investment was a key theme that rose to the top. Libraries, lots of support for the library and wanting to see expansion of community education, and some specifics in those public comments about what ways that could show up in the future. And then finally, for a fourth, land use and growth patterns, that is a key element of this plan. So as much land use and growth comments that we can get is always very helpful. But there's a lot about planned growth, wanting to prepare for the future, proactive growth, looking at specific things like zoning overlays. And so this really starts to set the stage of what goals and policies could be supported by the community in the future. That public engagement process, so we are really looking to do that tiered approach. So individuals, we started off with those one-on-one conversations, and we'll do study advisory team meetings and focus groups throughout the process. But now we're kind of getting into that citywide and group activity stage. So community workshops and drop-in events, plan showcase and performance panels, and some more creative ideas to get people involved and excited. The arts showcase is currently going on. This helps to give people a creative way to give feedback. So on your screen, you'll see some examples of what the submissions have been so far. So looking at pictures, the exciting things, Art Alley, the trail system, hearing stories about how the trail system has impacted people personally, and poems. We received a few poems that kind of highlight those special aspects. Yesterday we were in town and were able to sit into a workshop with the Club for Boys. So a local artist was able to do a comic book workshop and ask people what they wanted to see. This age group was around 11 to 15-year-old boys, asked what they'd like to see in the future. And some of their answers were places to find hobbies, opportunities to find out what kids are good at, and places to make friends. So as we're looking at the comprehensive plan, how can we encourage those places in the future, or how can we enable some opportunities for things like connection amongst youth? The other side of that was the comic book workshop, so getting people engaged with art. So we were able to see what kind of ideas that they have, and this was through a creative showcase of, what is your superhero and how can they impact Rapid City in the future. So a couple of ideas: a superhero that fixes things without people knowing, a spray paint can that leaves positive messages around town. So we're seeing some creative ideas from kids, but some of those key priorities, like Luke Skywalker using the Force to pick up litter, can tell us about some things to prioritize in the plan, or things fixing things in the future can give us some insight in what kids are experiencing. So how to get involved moving forward, that questionnaire one is open through July 31st. The Arts Showcase is still going on, so we're still encouraging entries. As we have these drop-in events over the next 3 days, we'll be submitting those and having people actually come up to the booth and give us feedback on their vision and maybe some artistic opportunities, and that will help bolster those submissions. And those drop-in events have been advertised on social media and through a press release and are on that website. Our next steps, so this is really the big public engagement push as we're hearing some of those higher level themes. We'll look and see, does that adhere to the existing conditions, the data analysis that we are doing in the background? So looking at the actual data to support what the plan was before and what the changing circumstances are now. Looking at that plan audit exercise, so what are the current plans saying and what things need to change based on public comment or be adjusted. And then some of those key themes will be showcased in the Community Mosaic Showcase. We're looking at them around mid-August to do that. And then as that questionnaire and some of those activities end in July, we'll be summarizing those and showcasing them as well. And that's our next steps. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the dais? Apparently there aren't any.
Thank you so much.
Would entertain a motion to acknowledge. Motion by Roberts, second by Roseland. All in favor? Aye. Motion to adjourn by Roberts, second by Sechrist. All in favor? Aye. And we're adjourned.